I was asked to do a prediction piece. Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal. I always do those, man. I got to tell you, there's a number of things that I'll see your announcers that you're forced to live with that come on TV and have these roles in our space of MMA. But of those things that I will tell you infuriates me is when they can't make a prediction. And the reason they can't make a prediction is they just don't want to hurt their own relationship with these two guys. Shut up. I mean, that's weird right there. That's just weird. Do your job and give a prediction and put your biasness aside. And if you have a biasness that's overwhelming, disclose it to the audience, because some of them are going to trust you and use that as influence to go make a bet. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. I don't ever not do it. But I told Ryan, I said, you know what? I don't want to do a prediction on these guys. Ryan said, you just like them both too much. Just know them too long. No, that's not what it is. What it is, I'm not sure what the winner gets. I'm just not sure. I know they stay in the talks. I know it's something good. I know it's something big. But I don't know what it is. I don't know that it takes you all the way to the front of the line. I don't know that you become a number one contender is what I'm attempting to say. Okay. The loser is quite possibly done. Their dream, for sure, is over. Now, if Burns wanted to come back and fight again, and he told them, hey, just get me another match. This is what I do, man. I win some, I lose some. They're hard. You know I'll do anything for it. They'll get him another match. No problem. Masvidal's in a little bit of a different spot. I told you guys a number of times, Jorge Masvidal is the second biggest draw in our industry. Now, things change. He's still up there. What maybe you weren't understanding when I told you that, he's the second highest paid guy in our industry. Now, that's a big deal. If you're going to pay a guy what you're going to pay Masvidal, you have got to be able to main event him. And if you're main eventing somebody on pay-per-view, he has got to be able, on any given night, to be fighting for the world championship. Or you can't pay him that money. You just can't. I don't think that Ronda Rousey left and retired from the sport completely as willing as she was. She had a contract that was so beautiful. She had to be a main event. And that division could not stand on its own unless they had a shiny belt to go with the match and the storyline. And you could not pay her what you had to pay her if it wasn't a world title fight main event on pay-per-view. And when she quit qualifying for that, there's now nowhere to go. Not with the contract that you've got. Now, that isn't fully what happened to Ron. I'm using it as an example, and I'm close. I'm about 70% of that's what happened with Ronda, but not fully, but it's still an example that you can look at. And when I do see Masvidal, and I know what he got, I know what that deal looked like, and his last fight was a main event of a pay-per-view. It was opposite Colby. It was sold out. It was big business. Fox News was covering it, for goodness sake. It was a big deal. But when you stumble in that, now you're in your own hometown, we can justify your pay because we can make it up at the gate. You're Mr. Miami, we'll bring you into Miami. For what I'm paying you, I need you to be in the main event, but because it's Miami, I can actually bring you down here and keep that bet. You lose one more, you're in a really tough spot. And these aren't secrets. It's just something that I don't know how comfortable I am coming out and giving a prediction for what I think is going to happen in this fight. Because the winner, why that light stays on and that dream stays out there. I mean, we got over 700 guys under contract. All 700 guys, that dream is still a thing. It's not gone. It's a very rare and select few where, this is over. You never, with this record, you never at this age, you never, with this most recent outcome, ever are going to return to a conversation about being in a world title fight, right? It's hard enough to get those fights when you're 38 years old. If you won your last 5, but you're 38 years old, you got something against you. You're going to have to overcome certain things. I'm just sharing for you. I'm not comfortable giving you a prediction on it for that very reason. And I'm never a prude about these things. I'm the one that gets mad when guys don't want to fight for whatever reason. That is what gets in my craw. This is a very unique spot for me, and I actually feel it twice in the same week. I mean, I can only feel for the pressure that's on those two. But Gaethje would like to fight with Poirier. And I mean, that is the bludgeoning of a lifetime. Gaethje would tell you that's he's already done it once, and he's either going to say it was that one or he's going to say that it was Eddie Alvarez. But one of those two fights was the worst beating and the most painful night of Gaethje's career. I just shared with you, and now Gaethje wants to go and do it again. That's great. Here's the problem. I don't know what the winner gets. We're all under the impression that Benny and Charles is what's the number one contenders match. And I mean, I'm just sharing for you. I don't know what the winner would get, but I do know that the loser is done. And right now, both those guys still have that dream alive. Both those guys have been champion. Both those guys have beaten everybody in front of them. They haven't been in there yet with Islam, but I'm sharing for you, right? You got to mix up. You got to change. Khabib's out. Charles fell. You've got a whole new friend, and Gaethje and Dustin are potential number one contenders anytime that you want to do it. If they go out and fight each other, I don't know what happens to the winner. I guarantee you whoever doesn't win is done forever. They will never even be in that talk. Maybe that's the way we want to play this game. This is a high-stakes game to begin with. I'm not going to be prude about it. I'm just sharing with you, for me, when you still have a choice, when it's not signed, when you could go out and lobby in different directions, when you settle in and decide you're going to lobby on that one, for me, I think it's a big risk.